pretty interested. American Vandal. What do you know about it?
I know the popularity so far of the kind of American crime stories and like dissecting stuff like that. This seems like a very funny kind of satire send up of that. So right away, I was kind of interested. And this is, you may have heard of the vandalization story of the person that was drawing dicks all over these cars. It was at a school. Was that at somebody's school? And it was all the teachers. They were drawing just dicks across all the cars. And this is kind of like exploring and doing this documentary, following this kid who does this documentary on it, trying to find who does that. Correct?
That's
how I described it.
Nope, you got it correct. This is the story of a young boy doing a documentary when a malcontent in his high school class is suspended and looking at expulsion for committing an act of vandalism that has ended up costing the school over $100,000 in repair
damages.
funds.
Yeah,
exactly. It was a real dick move. And what was that dick move? Drawing, like spray painting dicks on all the faculty cars in the faculty parking lot. 27 cars, 27 dicks. All right, the proper story breakdown, because they try to church it up, is American Vandal takes a look at the aftermath of a high school prank that left 27 faculty members' cars vandalized. But instead of the typical smashing windows, the perpetrator drew obscene images, the dicks, on the vehicles. When troubled senior Dylan Maxwell is expelled for the crime, an aspiring sophomore documentarian takes it upon himself to investigate the controversial, potentially unjust penalty handed down to Maxwell. And it sounds like a very I'm striking a blow for justice, and I want to make sure that this everyman isn't railroaded by these evil forces.
Well, it's taking that like sanctimonious type attitude towards like these justice warriors and everything like that are kind of taking over TV and all these shows. Yeah, it's applying this to something funny, and I think it does it in an interesting way where you can see the humor in it. You know,
well, no, it was
definitely because it's drawn right on the side of the car.
No, it was definitely played for laughs, and I mean they did take that angle with this kid, and I definitely call out his acting because I really brought him as just this kind of like needle-nosed, pencil-necked weasel who's trying to do the right thing, but he can't escape that like
the fact that
weasel. I gotta get the story at any cost. I don't care who I run over to do it.
Right.
Type of sensibility, all in the name of justice and accuracy.
He's like a butthead. He's a kid you would call a butthead. You know what I mean?
Shove
their head in a locker or something like that. He plays it perfectly.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
He's a kid who, by all intents, should be, I guess, fairly popular. He's involved in all the school clubs, and he's even in that school newscast.
But that's what makes him annoying.
That's what makes him annoying. He's the guy who gets the facts, and then they put him in front of camera.
Yeah.
He's played by Tyler Alvarez. The character's name is Peter Maldonado, and he did a great job embodying that. I'm really hoping that's not him in real life, because you poor SOB.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yep.
If that is you.
It's the story of Dylan, who's not a good kid. He's a prankster. He's a jerk. He pushes people around. He's not a bully, but he's the guy that the teachers have stories about, because his brother was kind of a jerk, and his brother moved on and told him, you know what, man, now straighten up, fly right, get your life together, because when I was there, I raised hell. Yep. But it's kind of too late for him, because the faculty's already spread their rumors about him before he got to school.
They already have the target.
Yes.
On the back.
So you see in the interviews in this documentary, everyone's against him from the get-go. And that's why he was such an easy target for this particular act of vandalism. And the first person they went to, and they expelled him without any actual evidence.
Right.
But we get from this documentary that maybe he didn't do it. And
that's how they build it up in these crime shows too. It's like, this is a troubled person. This one has every right to be guilty.
That's a new innovation, actually.
But based on past experience, but that doesn't make him exactly guilty in this case.
It doesn't, but that's a new innovation. That's been popularized by shows like Making a Murderer.
Yeah.
And I think Serial's the other one. Mm-hmm. But I've been watching crime shows forever. I've been watching documentary shows for a long, long time, and this one very well. First of all, this series is detrimented by the fact that they try to drag it out over a season. When you have maybe
8 episodes, right?
It's 8 episodes, half hour each, so it doesn't seem very long. But its structure is its main handicap. Because it follows the structure of a documentary, we have a lot of revelations. But a hook of the show is that all of this is playing out live. So while he's filming the different documentary segments, he's posting live to YouTube. So it's not a finished product. It's this week, this happened. This week, that happened. And that works against the general documentary, I guess, tenet of get your damn facts straight.
Right.
So he's reporting, okay, this happened, and then he'll find next week, oh, that was complete BS. Disregard everything we said and cited sources with and such.
Right.
And it took me out of it for...
Or basic journalistic anything, you know what I mean? Well, that's like,
Yeah.
you kind of got to put the whole thing together before you present it. Or
Yeah,
else,
and it's
you know,
sold
you're
on...
wrong, there goes your credibility.
It's sold on the concept of these are kids, but I'm like, these are kids,
You're
true.
stupid kids. Then.
Well, not.
Just inexperienced, I guess.
Yeah, complete inexperience. But that's one thing I kept going back to, and once or twice is fine. That is great, and that just makes for good filmmaking because they're kids. You have them acting like kids, and it's written like something kids would do. Fantastic, but it's also advertising itself as a serious, documentary on whether or not this kid did it. We're going to collect facts. We're going to find truths. We're going to put together pieces. Great. They're re-putting together the same pieces over and over again, and the time in between them is tedious. So you watch the first 5 minutes of an episode, you watch the last 5 minutes of an episode. That's the necessary portion. Everything else is like slow building filler.
So that's like basically how to speed read, by the way, too. You read the first paragraph and the last paragraph of every chapter, and then you get the gist of it, most likely. So you don't want to apply that to a TV show because it doesn't say much for the series.
No, and what gets me is people love this, and I think that's also it's gotten rave reviews so far. I've been checking out some of the other journalists' opinions.
People's taste is gone. Everything doesn't have to be so great and groundbreaking, whatever. They can't. Something needs to be good, like okay.
Well, I think this is this is more along the lines of mimicking the success of Serial and the formats of making a murderer.
Definitely a send up of all that.
But from more of a Napoleon Dynamite point of view.
Yeah.
It's definitely that fair on like, well, this is a cheap little neighborhood thing and this is how they interact and everyone hates each other and they've got their petty squabbles and we're going to publicize all that. But that's the when it stopped being a documentary and started being an actual drama program. And the last few episodes is where it got me. That's the part that I'd recommend saying, okay, this is where you want to start the story because this is the real of this tale. And they show you how during the documentary, now we're getting facts and now things are coming out. And once you get past the tedium of each individual episode and you get the interesting part of the story, which you eventually do get to. I'm not going to lie, bored for a lot of this because it's like, I understand everything in the first few minutes. Cool. What's next? Oh, you're going back over the facts. Oh, he's re-examining. No, he's not. They're just, okay, they're going very slowly for, I guess, padding out reasons.
Yeah.
But after the documentary is where stuff really comes out. You get to see, and this was really great acting by the kids, and less so by most of the adults, but they're not really featured in this, so that part I understood. But I'm going to call out the main, Jimmy Tatro, Dylan Maxwell. He was the main focus of the documentary, and you get to see how his life is affected by this. He's intending to go to a certain college, how the community treats him after this, people that could come to his defense, how his past affects their opinion, and whether or not they choose to help him. All that was very interesting, but it's all like glossed over.
It's also high school, too.
It is. No, very much so. And the acting was fantastic. I wanted to see more of that, and I got so little. Because most of it was on this investigation, which I think could have been the most interesting, but ended up being the weakest part of this whole series. The acting by the kids was spot on, and a lot of dirty laundry was aired, and then you got to see the aftermath of what happens.
Well, you see that too. It's like we said with the kid's brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I grew up in a small town in Vermont, and I know like certain families like I don't trust that kid. His brother's a psychopath. You know what I mean? How that can be handed down.
Mm-hmm.
And you can be judged that way, especially by your teachers and stuff who have a bad association with you.
Yeah, my short stint in the Burbs showed me that the teachers have their own inner closed-in community.
Right.
Where once you're branded as something within that, like that carries on for
That's
for
definitely
decades.
like a generalization that holds up for any group, for any location as well.
Well, what's surprising is
definitely
when I got
suburbia because it's the smaller community. I guess.
Well, elementary and middle school, like that was my world, but I moved back to the bigger city for high school, and it was completely different. Like the teachers hated each other. they've got their lives outside of school. They were there.
Well,
They
there's
did a
that, and
job.
then like
They
the
didn't interact
system's
with people.
bigger. You know what I mean? There's less community, I guess.
Yeah, that
so
too.
Like,
and
this
I think,
guy's just not doing his job. He doesn't give a damn.
yeah. So this focused on a lot of the faculty protecting each other and some of them airing each other's dirty laundry and a lot of shady, seedy stuff happening in the community. But it loses the documentary itself. And I mean, that's the documentary. If you're following that part, that's where the documentary itself is less credible. As a story and as a series, American Vandal, it fails on that aspect because it focuses so much on being that mockumentary, that pseudo serial, that pseudo
satirical stand up, those things.
That the concept of it's still entertainment. I'm still watching this to get the story of these kids. It's not just about the documentary's over, the story's over, because the documentary's over, but you still have 2 episodes to go.
Yep.
And the drama that they filled in there was the more interesting part of the series. Because of that, honestly, I'm afraid I can't recommend it, and it kind of hurts to do this because it's a production of mostly kids, and mostly kids that do good work. Their acting is good, but they're acting in a really shoddily put together story.
Yeah.
And that kind of bumps me out. I'm hoping also because Jimmy Tatro, the kid who played Dylan Maxwell, did a great job. You may recognize him as the he was the red herring suspect in 21 Jump Street in 20 this is the second 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street. In 22 Jump Street. He's the kid that had the red mohawk that they thought was the original criminal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that guy. So I'm really hoping that that's not his personality. I'm hoping he's like some Shakespearean.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think it's
like Ivy League educated, upscale, because he's getting typecast as these like base bully meatheads, and I'm hoping that's not him because he plays it a little too well. But I've got to give
maybe that's why.
Yeah, I got to give this a thumbs down. And I was really hoping I wouldn't have to because it sounded like the most interesting thing in the world going in. I'm like, oh, this is innovative as hell. Let's do it. And then especially because Netflix has been knocking them dead lately.
Not 100%.
But mostly. So I got to give it a thumbs down. It's an unfortunate thumbs down, but that's what it is. It is what it is. But still, people may want to check it out. It's been getting a lot of positive reviews, and everyone's really enamored with the serial esque. Well, I've mentioned that show like 10 times already.
Yeah.
But that's specifically what they were going for, and it's got more of that feel, but that doesn't make it a good crime show.
Cool.
Doesn't make it a good crime show.
Yeah, I would give it
probably
a thumbs halfway up.
Yeah, but we can't do that. It's
so
thumbs up or thumbs down. I gotta make the hard.
It's a binge worthy show. I think it's like 8 episodes, a half hour. I think.
Well, you kind of have to
like,
if you try to.
If you have the time, you know what I mean, and you're already sitting at home, eating pasta and you got sauce all over your chest.
You can do that. Watch it in good health, man.
So I'll give it a thumbs up to counteract.
You can't give a thumbs up to something you haven't seen.
I've seen it.
You haven't.
That's what I'm talking about.
You did? Did you watch it at the end?
Yes.
You did? Okay then. Okay, I guess a thumbs down for me, but a thumbs up from Adam. Did not see that coming.
I'm only saying it to go against you though.
Hey, look at that. It's a thumbs up, thumbs down.
Man, you weirdo. All right, well, okay, conflicting opinions here on the Geek Down. This has been the Geek Down here on WEMF Radio. Hopefully you are catching us also on twitch.tv/the Geek Down. If not, you can jump on there and follow us, subscribe, all that.